Welcome to episode 37 of Curious Conversations. Those who are watching on video will see that this is a different spot.
Yeah,
We are in Aidan's flat.
we always find in different spots.
We've got a really good one planned. We had our men's day down at Sin on Saturday. Something that I had the idea in my mind for a little while. Like a few months back actually. I was actually looking at my notes recently and I had it in like July time to do it, and then it just came about to November, which then made the idea of I wanted to do that, and so I planned it out, done a talk, then we done a big conditioning session, and then we had some food and coffee and stuff. So we're going to run through what that day looked like, run through what the talk was all about, what we done during that talk as well. But it was genuinely went away from that day feeling it was a pretty special day, and so many people like felt the same about it, and we're going to dive into why we think that was. How did you enjoy Saturday?
Mate, one of my favourite days that I've had in a long time. I just felt like everyone was like fully connecting with each other, and that everybody felt the exact same way, because it was an opportunity for all of the guys to be vulnerable and get the opportunity to speak about the problems that they faced. Because I feel like a lot of the time you think it's just you that's got the issue. You think it's just you, like people wouldn't understand, people wouldn't get it until you actually put a lot of guys in a room together and actually speak about this topic, that you start to understand that this person that's sitting right beside me has got similar issues to me, and that allows me to connect with them and understand their issues and look at my issues in a different kind of point of view. So that's probably why I think everybody found it so special, because it was a place to, as I say, be vulnerable and open up.
Yeah, and a big reason why I wanted to frame it the way that we'd done it and go deeper into the topic of vulnerability was, I wish that 5 years ago someone had spoke to me about it or educated me on it, and I just felt like I was teaching my 21-year-old self as to how to understand this a little bit better, how to think about it as well, and not judge yourself for feeling a certain way as well. But how it ran, we ran a workshop first off. I had a little bit of a presentation with some education, some questions on like certain things that we're going to run through with during this podcast for you to go away, write down, think of as well, so you can take part in it. I shared some of my story. Dale then shared his story as well. Dale wrote a book in 2021 called You Are Not Broken, all about his mental health journey, and it was amazing. His talk was really, really good, very insightful. I think a lot of people connected, and then we opened up the space for questions afterwards for both Dale and I. But yeah, it was a very special day, and as Aidan said, it was like you just felt like a connection in the room that you probably have never really felt before within the members.
Totally.
I think it just brings everyone down to the same level.
Yeah.
And understanding that we're all just the same, really.
Yeah, totally.
So the main topic of the conversation within the thing was the power of vulnerability, and that strong doesn't particularly mean silent. Strong doesn't mean silent, and speaking up is important. So I shared a little bit about my story with mental health, and I spoke about recency bias, how I've worked at Sin for a year. During that year, I've been very open about my feelings and emotions. However, I feel like I'm getting somewhere with compared to where I was at 5 years ago. And recency bias members who know me will know I'm a guy who trains a lot. Like, I probably seem like I've got most of my shit together when it's not particularly apparent. I'm good with my diet. I read a lot, learn a lot, whatever. And probably about 5-6 years ago, it was during COVID, was when my mental health was the worst. I came off the back of uni, was a little bit lost, drank a lot, took too much drugs. There was a whole bunch of different things that made me not particularly feel my best. And that's where I made a big decision one day after being unbelievably hungover during lockdown. I was like, I'd never want to feel like this again. So I started putting steps in place, started making changes, started learning a lot. And I said to everyone, it's not particularly that easy to do. Like, you can't just say, right, I'm promising myself I'm never going to feel like that. Since then, I've failed so many times, got up, tried so many different new things. And as I said, I feel like I'm getting somewhere with it.
What age were you when you had that kind of realisation?
COVID, 21, 22. Similar age to you,
Yeah.
22 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 22. Well, I'm 27 just now. 5 years ago, 22ish.
Nice.
And yeah, like a big part of what I said on Saturday was sharing that story and how I've learned to deal with my emotions a little bit better. And one of the things is through speaking about them and understand them a lot more. I've actually, because after I asked all these questions, I spoke with Martin and Danny, both about the questions, and we all opened up to each other, kind of how we were feeling, and it's weird because, well, Martin in particular, Danny's very new to the team, don't particularly know him that well. However, in that moment, I felt like I knew him so well because we just spoke about feelings. It's weird. It's a different connection compared to your usual just what's happening. Like,
yeah, totally, 100%. Because the connection's so strong, I think, because you can't lie in that situation.
Yeah.
Unless you're like when you're being vulnerable and when you're speaking about how you felt in the past, it's not fake. It's true. Like, you might have a conversation with someone and it might be like, all right, mate, what's happening? How you doing? You all right? All good? Aye. And then that's it. And then you just start like talking shit. But like with conversations like that, where you need to really chime into like how you felt before and be open about it, it kind of forces you to connect with someone and just kind of understand them, because like when they say certain things that you've been struggling with, you can, like certain things that they've been struggling with, you can resonate with that.
Yeah.
Or you can at least understand it. So that's as I say, why I thought that day was so good for that. Because you could really just like, you had no choice but to connect with someone.
Absolutely. I think that you really felt that as well. Like, you had conversations.
Aye.
So Aidan was taking part in the workshop where he was speaking with two different members during
Two
it.
different members, aye.
Like, prerequisite, we never even spoke about the men's day fully. There was 43 men in the room, so it was an amazing turnout. Like, and I think that weirdly the number of guys who came up to me after it and said, "Mate, I really needed that," was mad to me. Like, I feel like we've never done anything like that at Sin before. I've never even like really seen anything like that, like any gyms offering that, or I don't even really know any like groups or anything.
Yeah.
I might just be not in that circle. However, it's something that I'm definitely going to go on and think about more and offer potentially even more education towards it, because I felt right speaking about it. Because it's something that I'm not an expert in, I'm not a doctor, however I've been through certain things that have helped me and I've came out the other end feeling a lot better than I used to. So I feel like that's what I do as a coach, like from a physical standpoint. I used to not be in shape, I used to hate the way I looked, now it's a little bit different.
Yeah, gives you the opportunity to like help people with the things that you used to get better, and I guarantee like you just telling your story and kind of like allowing people to understand where you've came from will help them massively. Because I know for a fact that a lot of members look at you and think, wow, this guy is like, he's born stoic, he's born fucking mad, like mad calm, like it just comes to you natural. And I know, obviously, from you talking about your story, that that's not natural. You've worked on it. So all props to you, bro, for that. Like I was sitting back, obviously I was taking part in the whole workshop, and I was just sitting back and watching Dale and Anton speak about their journeys, and it was inspiring for me because I went through it massively as well. Like the people that have listened to this podcast for a while will know that it's an ongoing thing for me in terms of mental health. I'll get into that a little bit more as we progress, but I was just kind of sitting back and watching them and just really admiring them for how well they're able to talk about the situation. But I feel like it's easy to speak about the situation once you've came through it, and you can really teach people about how, like, what you've done to get past it. And everyone's going to be different. That's the thing about it. If everyone was the same, then you would have the answer already. But you just kind of need to figure out what works for you. And the biggest thing, if you're going through periods of like struggle and depression and like low mood and stuff, what I've realised is you can't like rush the process. You can't try and push out, like you can't get out of the process. I feel like there just needs to be a period of time where you go through that to understand it fully. And that's kind of what I'm going through just now.
If you're comfortable sharing it, you want to share it?
100%, totally. So, as I say, like, I would have loved to get the chance to speak up in that Wednesday. I actually spoke to Ryan and Dale about that the other day. And there's just a part of me that didn't feel like I could have, because I'm kind of just like going through a period of time just now where I'm struggling a little bit in that sense. Ever since we kind of came back from Oslo, it's just not been the same, and I've kind of found myself going back to old and negative habits and just kind of really struggling with things. And that's something that's why I found Saturday so special, because it was almost like I needed it. I needed the feeling of, all right, okay, other people are going through this, and if like my two closest mates can get through that and push through periods of time like that, then I can definitely do that, because I'm surrounded by them. So it was special for me to understand. It was good to know that there was people there for you. The two members that I was talking to were incredible. But Andrew Little, if you're listening to this, bro, shout out you. I had a great conversation with him. Could relate to Andrew a lot, and he let me know that he feels the exact same way, and it was just special because, as I say, you feel like you're the only one. So yeah, it's been a long period, and that's one thing that I'm focusing on as well just now, is not rushing the process. You're always, I feel like there's been many times where I've been really, really high and really, really low, and you start to see it kind of the same things kind of happening, and the goal for me is to just kind of find that balance in between, just like feeling good a lot of the time instead of like feeling amazing and then feeling really, really low. So yeah, it's a process, it's a journey, and I know that it's gonna take a long time to figure things out and really kind of get a hold of certain things, and that's totally fine, because that's the whole part of a life. The time's going to go by anyway, so what would you rather do, focus on getting better, or kind of just staying the same? And I know what I would rather do, you know. So yeah, it's a journey, and I'm looking at it from a different perspective just now.
Thanks for sharing, bro.
Of course.
I think that Aidan touched on a little bit about one of the biggest lessons from the day, and something that I actually framed it as, if I had one thing to tell myself when I was during lockdown, and I'd made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to feel like that again, it was acceptance, not avoidance. And I noted that when we avoid, we mask things, and then when we accept, we grow. Okay, and I think it's, you were chatting about AA earlier on, how like the different steps. I think it's the first step. It's one of the steps anyways.
The first step is
the
acceptance.
first steps, yeah. So the first step is acceptance of your current situation, accepting how you feel, and that's the point. That's the point that most people don't get past, because they avoid their feelings. They avoid their emotions, their thoughts, their beliefs, and you almost run away from it. But something that was on that podcast that we're listening to is, if you constantly avoid your emotions, it's like a debt. You have a debt against your body, and that's when things like mental breakdowns happen, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, etc. Because you have so much pent up emotion inside you, and you end up having the symptoms. That can go into other symptoms, of course, like things with your body, different issues with your body, autoimmune diseases, stomach issues I was talking about, etc. If you build up all this emotion and have no way to process it or accept where it's at. But
the thing as well, like we're speaking about, it's like these things like emotions and like feelings and stuff like that, and things that you're kind of holding on to, you can't avoid them. Like you can, and like for a certain period of time, but they creep up in certain ways, the ways that you don't think would actually be possible, in ways that you might not actually understand. Like you might not think it's that thing that you've been holding on to, or that emotion that you've not been speaking about, or that feeling, but it is that, and that's what Anton was saying. Like it will creep up in kind of things like your gut and your autoimmune diseases, and just like it will destroy your day to day if you let it. So acceptance is the biggest thing for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's good to touch on different vices, like we were chatting about, that people have, because it's like a lot of people, probably people listening to this, don't understand that it's like emotions that they're feeling. It's just like that's what they've felt like for so long, that it's just ingrained inside them.
Yeah.
And I certainly used to do, from my standpoint, I used to overeat and binge eat to mask a feeling, but I wasn't aware in that moment that I was feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
So like I would just get into this habit of overeating, binge eating, like even during COVID. I remember going down like early during COVID, like playing Xbox, PS4, whatever, and going down at like 12, like midnight, 1 a.m, just like eating thousands of calories. Like going to town, literally. But at the time you don't realise why it is, or what.
You don't understand why it is, but you also don't understand like the damage it's doing to you, not only like physically but psychologically.
Yeah.
A good way I've heard it like spoke about is, because I do the exact same. That's definitely my coping mechanism is eating food and binge eating. But what I've realised for a long time is that it makes everything worse. So you already feel like that feeling of shame or guilt, depending on what type of person you are. That might be the feeling that you're feeling. And then you go into the kitchen and you binge eat and you eat junk food and you eat until like your stomach, you're about to be sick. And then that just makes the shame and the guilt so much bigger. And then because you feel the shame and the guilt more and more and more, what do? Again, you try and suppress that feeling, and then you go towards the food again, like, because you're not understanding what's going on, you're not understanding why you're feeling like that, so it then pulls you back in, and then you just start to create that kind of crazy cycle of like binge eating and having day, and then it creeps into other things. It creeps into your day to day. It will creep into your sleep. It will creep into like the way you show up for work, and that's the things that you need to understand.
Constant cycle.
Yeah.
Let's go into the questions. So we done 3 questions,
yeah.
And the way we kind of laid it out was, I asked the question and I knew what was coming up, because I'd like written the presentation, I'd whatever. And the first question was, when was the last time you cried? Who was there and why did you cry? Now what I done was I gave everyone 2-3 minutes to think on it and write it down, and everyone done that. It was silence in the room for 2 to 3 minutes, and you could see, like, I was just observing the room, and like people were actually like thinking, God, I don't know when the last time I cried was, or some people were straight away, whatever. But what I done after that, the next slide was, I want you to share that with the person next to you. Now there's 43 guys in the room, and you could, I was observing the room straight after that, and you could kind of just like see, feel that feeling of fear. First, that big feeling of fear of, shit, this person, I don't even know this person next to me.
Yeah.
Or even worse, I know this guy.
Aye.
And I'm about to tell him when the last time I cried. And then, like, after you do it, it's the feeling of fear, but second, it's the feeling of connection afterwards. Of, shit, I really relate to this guy. I understand this guy a lot better now. And you have that genuine feeling of connection.
Yeah.
I done it with Martin and Danny. As I said, I'd done it for all questions with him, and Aidan done it with a couple of guys from the gym. And you even said automatically you felt a feeling of connection that you never had before with them.
Totally, 100%. I feel like in these situations, like sharing these things, like I'm quite good at it. Like I can do it. I don't really get too anxious or anything like that about sharing it. But I was a bit like, I wasn't too sure. Like most of us probably were. But yeah, as I say, like the feeling of connection once you shared that. I think mine was a little while ago, maybe like a month ago or something like that. And it was just because of like a feeling of overwhelm, due to like lacking a bit of structure, maybe like kind of coming off the highs of Oslo, and just kind of felt like I wasn't feeling great, and that was the last time I cried, and it was funny getting the chance to share that with somebody, because as I say, I can speak about like the whole mental health and stuff like that until my face goes blue, but talking to somebody that you don't normally talk to about these things, and about like the last time you cried is pretty daunting.
Yeah. What, were you with anyone?
Nah.
No.
Nah. I was myself in here.
Yeah.
What about you? What did you say?
So my answer changed. Well, my answer changed from now. I'd spoke in the group chat after this how my answer changed that day, because I was after the day ended, we were all like there for probably an hour afterwards or whatever, just speaking about the day, how it was so good. Then we all left each other. I went home and I had get loads of gifts and cards from the day that people had brought in, probably like 25 cards or something, which I was so grateful and appreciative for. But I was like, everyone is in the house now. I was like, I'm not going in and reading them. I'm going to read them in the car myself, because I already felt like emotional, and I almost cried during the talk. I almost cried at the end when like we kind of brought everyone together and Dale spoke and then I spoke, just to like,
I remember that, bro.
what was the review of the day kind of thing?
It was
just say thank you to everyone.
It was basically you saying thank you, but you were also saying like, this is why we do these things. This is why we bring us together, so we can all be with one another and help each other kind of get along. And you also said every single coach in here is always going to be there for you, so like don't ever hesitate to reach out. Like obviously you'll be away, but that's not to say don't ever reach out.
That was the point. I was saying that's when I almost cried, was when I said about reaching out even if I'm over the other side of the world, because like I've not even mentioned that was Saturday was my last day in Sin. My final day as head coach, so I was saying bye in the morning at Saturday service to like loads of the girls at Sin, girl members, and then on the men's day, that was like 40 odd guys I was saying bye to. And some of them I will see before I head off, but some of them I won't. And it's sad when you build a relationship for a full year with people. You see people 3-4 times a week, and then you won't see them again. So it was I was already feeling emotional from that. Then the day went, and then I read some of the cards, and I think I was like the third card in, and it was like a mad message, and I was just like, I just started bawling my eyes out, like 5 minutes. Like, see that, see that type of crying where you're actually like, Jesus, like hard crying, like a baby, like actually cried like a baby, and I felt so much better after it. Totally. But I've not cried like that in so long. But again, it was an emotional time for me. It's like, I'm going to go into like what my feelings are, leaving sin and etc. But yeah, that was that was the answer to mine. When was the last time you cried? Who was there and why did you cry? Last time I cried was Saturday afternoon. Who was there? I was by myself. And why did you cry? That exact reason.
Yeah.
Second question was a really good one, and I wanted to give a little bit more time for this one. I said I want to give kind of 3 to 5 minutes for this one to think on it, and then also write down. So, what mask do you wear most often? And like examples of this could be is I'm fine, I'm in control, I've got it handled, I'm the funny one, I don't care. So like these masks that you use when you're feeling emotional that allow you to avoid it. So I wanted everyone to kind of think on it and think like, what do I do almost on a daily basis about this one? And then again, we got them to share with the person next to them again. For me, this one was I'm fine. I actually spoke to Danny and Martin about this one, how in the past, probably only in the last year, I've got a little bit better at it, but I'm still not great at it, is when someone directly asks me, oh, how are you? Like, I will automatically say I'm fine, as will 99% of the population. Yeah, I'm fine. Until someone prompts you a little bit differently or a little bit more, and it's like, how actually are you? And then when you think of it, it's like I'm amazing right now, I'm great, or it's I'm actually not really good right now. Not in a great spot. This is happening. This is happening. So that is my mask of I'm fine. I'll just get on with it. And I feel like I've kind of grew up in that sense of just getting by and doing that and being it. I'm fine. And that, I think that to a certain degree it will work for a while. Like I managed to like get through uni and like get through school, all that shit of like being in that situation, but then again off the back of that, I ended up in a worse spot. So yeah, that was mine at that moment that I shared.
Aye, it always comes back as well. Like we can put on these masks and stuff like that. I've got hunters, to be fair, but
what was the main one?
Main one was I'm all good, or I'm not struggling, or I'm the positive happy one.
Yeah.
That was the three that kind of stood out to me when I heard the question at first. And I done the exact thing with Martin, or I can't remember what day it was, Wednesday maybe. He was like, he obviously knew the kind of situation that I was going through, and then he asked me, how are you? And I said, I'm good. And he asked me like, oh, actually, are you actually okay? And I was like, no, I'm not. And it took that kind of follow-up question to get a little bit out of me, and then I kind of had the conversation. Felt a little bit better. That was actually a day that I was close to crying thinking about it. When it was me, you, and Martin in, was having the conversation, and I was close to crying then. But yeah, that's the masks that I normally wear. And as you said, I'm the same. I find it quite hard at the time to speak about it. When I'm feeling that way, when I'm feeling like I'm really stuck in it, it's hard for me to share that, and to let people know how I'm feeling, because you've got a black cloud over you, and you can't really get it away, and you don't really, the last thing you want to do is kind of start trying to like talk about your feelings. But yeah, that's the ones that I would normally wear.
And the final question, number 3, was think about the heaviest thing that you carry that no one really sees. So the thing that you carry either every day, like the thing that's heaviest for you. Examples of this one were like job stress, money stress, like relationship stress, all these things. There's so many different examples. But for this one, we just said to think on it and just write it down. We didn't get anyone to share this one. I think I just wanted more of a awareness to what they think it was. Again, gave them 3 minutes or so to think on it, write on it, journal a little bit about it, and I think, yeah, that one's important to highlight and try and be made aware of.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, that was the three kind of questions. Throughout that, we obviously had loads of different conversations as well, like brought up certain things. We opened up the floor to questions on both ends. So Dale opened up questions to him and then to myself as well. And with that, like so many great questions as well. People had things on their mind that they wanted to ask our opinion on.
It's good as well. I think, sorry to cut you off, I think it's good as well because you seen, like, people were asking the questions because they wanted the answer.
Yeah.
They wanted the answer for themselves. They wanted to know, and like the amount of hands that went up, it was so good to see. It was just really, really nice.
And I genuinely think as well, if we hadn't done the exercises, see if it was just a talk where I was like just reading off the screen of a presentation, and we never done the talks where we were open up a little bit, asking, I don't think there would have been any questions.
100%, totally.
People wouldn't have had been vulnerable enough to open up and be like, right, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
How would you deal with this or whatever?
Yeah.
And the thing is, both Dale and I said the exact thing of we don't have the answers. We have experiences from ourselves that have helped, and we also have more education around it than the average person because we help clients through things like this. I love learning about this shit. I read about it. I listen to podcasts on it, etc. So I feel like I know more than the average person on it, and to share the knowledge that I've learned or experiences that I've had, and Dale as well, I think that it helped a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely helped. I know for a fact it helped most of the guys in there, for sure, if not all of them.
Yeah.
So props to both of you guys.
And thank you to everyone who shared as well. It was great. I know that a lot of people who came will be listening to this podcast. So yeah, next thing we wanted to chat about was, and in fact, there was a couple of further learning that I want to highlight as well. People took note of these or took a photo of it, but it'd be good for our listeners to also go a wee bit deeper if they want to, that is. I offered some books and podcasts that I recommend and have read or listened to. Books were Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This is a pretty deep book and probably a life-changing book for a lot of people. Viktor Frankl is a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust, and he speaks about his experience in the Holocaust and how he came out the back of it. He speaks about something called logotherapy, which is something he coined and created, and it speaks a lot about emotions throughout that and how to kind of deal with certain situations. The School of Life by Alain de Botton. He's just came out a podcast with Modern Wisdom as well.
Really good.
So that would be a even quicker insight as to kind of what the book's about. But he's a very good speaker, and he speaks in stories as well, so it's like easier to understand. He's a good teacher. And the third one, No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. This one is particularly about men's emotions and how to, it speaks a lot about kind of like people pleasing and that how that stems from not feeling enough, etc., etc. So 3 books there, 3 podcasts to listen to: Modern Wisdom, the Rich Roll podcast, and Feel Better, Live More with Rangan Chatterjee. Modern Wisdom, a particular episode for that was Chris Bumstead's one. Rich Roll was with Andrew Huberman, and Feel Better, Live More was with Gabor Mate. They were the 3 episodes that I recommended. But yeah, any you can think of that have helped you?
That one we were talking about just there, that Mark Brackett. That one's actually just got released before the Alanda Baton one. So it'll be fresh on Spotify and stuff like that if you want to go check that out. There's been many. There's been so much. Especially Chris Williamson. I think that that's something that he is massive on. I think I've listened to that Joe Hudson one as well from Chris Williamson. So taking a little listen to that. A lot of his podcasts just by like the first sentence, because he starts it off with like a question every time. So literally every single time I go on, I just listen to the question, and then I know like within like 10 seconds if it's going to be for me. And a lot of the time when it is about these topics and about like emotions and feeling a certain way, and getting the opportunity to like get a hang of that, that's always the ones I'm going to listen to. So yeah, Chris Williamson and a whole is a great one.
Yeah. We're going to round off the podcast with me leaving sin, kind of feelings and emotions. Aidan like almost asked me to share around that, and I'm more than happy to, because it's, of course, sin was a huge part of my life for the past year. I joined start of October as head coach. Since then, worked with hundreds of members within there, learned so much from all members, all coaches, Ryan and Dale, and it's been weird to kind of step away from it, because I feel like leaving a job and leaving a place that you don't enjoy can be quite easy. Like, yeah, I feel like you would probably still get emotions from leaving a place, like, still, totally. But like a place that you love being in and love coaching in, leaving that is harder because it's like a part of you. And 100%. The way I see it, the way that I see it, from stupid philosophical standpoint, of course,
every time,
is that it was a chapter in my story, and I feel just now I'm holding the pen and I'm going to write the next part of it, on the next chapter. I feel like that for me, it's feelings of fear, feelings of excitement, sadness, happiness, all kind of mixed into one, because there's that chapter that's ending, but there's also the next chapter that's super exciting, and uncertainty.
Yeah.
But uncertainty is also excitement, because it's like
totally.
I still have that feeling of something good's going to come of this.
100%. I feel like when you're going through things like that, these things are inevitable. These feelings that you're feeling just now are inevitable, and it goes back to a little bit of the whole acceptance, not avoidance. Because if you were to avoid, you would be like, nah, I can't deal with that feeling. I don't want to go towards that. But if you accept, you're like, right, okay, this is going to happen, and there's no getting away from these feelings that you're going to feel, and that's the excitement in it all. This is an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to really figure out some things that you have never figured out before.
Yep.
Because you've not experienced this whole experience before. So it's gonna allow for you to build as a person, grow as a person, obviously, like mentally, but physically as well, obviously, with the things that we're doing, So.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time. Having new things, having space as well.
Yeah.
Space to think about. This is Wednesday. Finished up sin on Saturday, and I feel like because I've had Jenna and I went away for like a couple of days, and I think that just gave me space to think and reset a little bit before I go into this kind of next phase. And yeah, I'm excited, bit of fear, but feel the fear and do it anyway.
Let it all work out, bro.
Let it all work out. A little reminder about Movember. We done this Men's Day in like to raise money and awareness for Movember. If there's any sort of donations that anyone would like to make, I'm going to link that in the bio, or just to spread awareness as well. Share on stories, whatever. If there's some particular thing that has helped you during this episode, share it with a friend. If you've got a pal who you feel like is maybe avoiding their emotions, is dealing with it in a way that's not helping them, which I imagine every single person listening to this probably will have that person. Someone who maybe is not making the right choices at the weekends, is heavily overweight, is struggling with particular things, then send them over this episode. One little thing might trigger something, and you never know. The good old butterfly effect, where it starts a chain of reactions, and it might start a little bit of change, which is exactly why we do this podcast, by the way.
Totally.
Is to get those little sparks.
And always we say it every single time, but if there's anything that you've taken away, then please send us over a little message about the things that you have taken away, and the things that if you've got any questions or any things that you want to share with me and Anton, then please send us over a message, because as I say, I could talk about this until my face goes blue. So yeah, appreciate you all.
Yes, I think, what are we? How far into this? This is quite a long one.
It's
42 minutes, 30 seconds. This is probably one of the longest ones we've had in a while. So if you are still listening at this point, that's impressive.
Sure,
But
yeah.
Also, I'd like to offer you a little bit of a opportunity to reach out first off. If there's something that you want to speak about, both of us, we're more than happy to chat to you, messages, whatever. But I'll also jump in a little call with you. We can sort a little call, we half an hour chat, whatever, and chat through some things. So yeah, that's us for today. The 3 questions that I want you to go journal on. Think about: when was the last time you cried? Who was there, and why did you cry? What mask do you wear most often? And think about the heaviest thing that you carry that no one really sees. Note that down. Think of it. Those are the 3 questions to think on. If you want to share with us on socials, and at Anton Grimley.
Aiden Glasgow 1.
Stay curious.
Stay curious.